Conservative leadership candidate Erin O'Toole is saying some of its valuable and confidential data has been stolen, and it's placing blame on the organization of fellow frontrunner Peter MacKay. Let's bring in Natalie Collada, who is tracking the story for us. So Natalie, talk to us about the allegations being made here.
Well, Michael, O'Toole is calling this a hacking. He has complained to police, and he is blaming and pointing the finger at Peter MacKay's campaign team. Now, both Erin O'Toole and Peter MacKay are frontrunners for the leadership race for the Conservative Party. Now, O'Toole has not given any specific information publicly, given any sort of evidence about what this was, but he did make a statement to the media last night. And take a look. In it, he said his team discovered a theft of Zoom video conferences, including confidential campaign strategy video conferences and video conferences of Conservative Party members across Canada. Now, it seems to be taken from data from his team that they had collected, and he says that the team concluded their own investigation, and in that investigation, it led them to Peter MacKay's campaign, and specifically to one individual named Jamie Law. Now, MacKay's team, I should say, has not responded publicly to this. Law, however, has. He took to Twitter. Take a look at this. He said in a brief response, citing O'Toole's statement, saying not a single word of this is true. Now, O'Toole did complain to police, as we say, and not just one police force, but several, including Toronto's police service, as well as on the Ontario Provincial Police. And this all comes, Michael, as this leadership race heats up. The ballots are expected to go out in the next couple of weeks, and then decisions are expected to be announced sometime in August. So something we will be watching for sure.
Okay, Natalie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to stay on this story right now and reach out to Conservative strategist Andrew Brander. He is a senior consultant with Crestview Strategy. Joins us right now in Toronto. Andrew, good to see you.
Good to be with you, Michael.
Listen, before we begin our conversation here, I want to put it out there and get your confirmation. You are not with any of the campaigns right now vying for leadership here.
That's correct.
Okay. So that said, good to have that on the record. What do you make of these claims being made by the O'Toole camp?
Yeah, I'd say in general, it sort of speaks to the state of the leadership race in general, that this is the kind of thing that Conservatives are spending their time talking about, and this is what it takes to get excited about the leadership race. Look, at first blush, I would anticipate that it appears at least to be sort of an effort to distract from what otherwise was a very good week for the Peter MacKay campaign, coming off the debate performance on Thursday night. It wouldn't be uncommon for a campaign to sort of drop some serious news to try and move past that. However, I would say in this case, both Erin as well as the chair of his campaign are trained lawyers. The chair of his campaign is also the chair of a major law firm here in Canada. So I don't think that these are allegations that they're making lightly. I would anticipate that they have significant reason to do so and significant evidence behind it. And if that's the case, then these allegations are quite serious. And they really do equate to what would be the modern day equivalent of sort of a break and enter into a campaign office and people stealing data.
But you're not ruling out that this might be politically motivated, again, as you say, after what has been a good week for Peter MacKay.
Yeah, that's right. And I would say also, just in addition to that, the timing of this release seemed to be a little odd. The news broke last night at 11 p.m. going into a long weekend. These types of tactics are not unusual for campaigns to employ. But however, in this case, they are quite serious, and I'd anticipate that there's some footing for them to stand on.
Now, again, Natalie was just saying we don't really have a complete picture of what qualifies as this data theft as it's been described by the O'Toole team, but certainly they are pointing to Zoom conferences, so perhaps video of those conference calls. How potentially damaging is that for the O'Toole campaign?
Yeah, judging by the length of the statement that they put out, I think the O'Toole campaign probably has a really good sense of what their opponents might be in possession of right now. And judging by their reaction, it potentially exposes or at least suggests that the O'Toole campaign would be concerned about what kind of content is contained within that. Now, campaign strategy in general is not that secretive, I don't think. What could be potentially damaging is obviously more private conversations that are being held by campaigns in terms of who they're recruiting.
Although we just came off of essentially a leak of another conversation, which basically said that Erin O'Toole wanted to be the second choice of social conservatives in Quebec, which could potentially be damaging.
That's right, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the video, quite frankly, that tipped them off to start to look into this. So those types of leaks can be incredibly damaging for a campaign. It can also be damaging to a candidate's brand when they're saying one thing to one section of the party and then publicly, and then in private saying something very different. So I think those are all considerations and calculations that the O'Toole campaign would have had to know would have been surfaced in making these very serious allegations.
Running out of time. I need you to be quick on this one because, you know,
Sure.
The O'Toole camp is pointing a finger right now at campaign organizer for Peter MacKay, Jamie Lall. He responded on Twitter saying that not a single word of this allegation is true. But then other members of the MacKay team say that this is all, quote, mildly amusing. Are you surprised by that reaction from the MacKay team? Are they being too cavalier with their response right now?
I'm not surprised by it. I think they should probably be taking it more seriously, and there should at least be some sort of statement stating, you know, that this is completely not acceptable if in the event that something like this happened. But you talk about time and you talk about me being quick on this. The fact is, you know, they're asking, the O'Toole campaign's asking 3 very senior police forces to look into this. We have ballots going out anticipated in the next week or so. Really, the question is, are any of these allegations going to be to a significant point where they can substantiate any of them before party members get their ballots, and what the repercussions of that are after the vote, quite frankly.
Well, we'll be watching. Listen, Andrew, thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Stay well, Michael.
You too. That is Andrew Brander, Senior Consultant at Crestview Strategy, also a Conservative strategist in Toronto.